New York is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I thank my friend for yielding me the customary 30 minutes. Yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased that the legislation before us today gives us a chance to begin to mitigate the worst effects of sequestration, but it is not enough, as my colleague has stated. Our nation can and should dare to once again dream big. We're a nation that built one of the largest interstate highway systems in the world that is presently crumbling, launched the Internet, pioneered the creation of GPS, created the largest middle class on earth through a fair and balanced tax code that asked everyone, including the wealthiest among us and the biggest corporations, to pay their fair share. And we're home to public institutions like the National Institutes of Health, which have helped to find the cures for countless diseases and conditions and saved millions of lives. Great achievements like these are only behind us if we so choose. I strongly believe that we can rebuild our crumbling runways, our roads and rails, and restore our middle class, and invest in the breakthroughs that will once again make us the envy of the world. But in order to do so, we have to take responsible fiscal choices that are a reflection of our values. That means restoring smart and targeted funding to the programs and agencies that drive our country forward, asking the most fortunate among us to pay their fair share, not more than that, their fair share, and protecting the programs that serve hardworking Americans at times when they need help the most. To that end, it is shameful that the legislation before us does not extend unemployment benefits for the 1,300,000 Americans scheduled to lose them within a matter of weeks, 3 days after Christmas, actually. In the United States of America, we believe in providing a hand up, not a kick while you're down. And unemployment insurance is that hand up. And it's shown that unemployment insurance allows job seekers to purchase necessities such as groceries and gas without accruing further debt. In so doing, it helps to increase the economic activity while easing the financial burden of unemployment. Americans need to make it easier, not harder for them, as we are, to find a new job. That's why my Democrat colleagues, Representative Levin, Representative Van Hollen, Representative Barbara Lee, introduced an amendment in the Rules Committee last night to extend the unemployment insurance for an additional 3 months, just 3 months. This bill was paid for. I want to make that perfectly clear. Would not have cost an extra dime. Inexcusably, the majority rejected my colleague's amendment, despite inserting language to fix Medicare payments to doctors over the coming year, which is certainly important. Fixing the Medicare payments to doctors is a worthy and important goal. But it is certainly troubling, and should be to all of us, that we are unwilling at the same time to ignore the needs of the unemployed. The majority's refusal to extend a helping hand to jobless Americans stands in stark contrast to the defense of tax loopholes for big corporations and powerful special interests. For far too long, our nation has allowed wealthy individuals and powerful corporations to hide billions of dollars in offshore bank accounts and create tax loopholes instead of paying their fair share. Indeed, some corporations in America pay no taxes at all. It is unfortunate that not a single one of the loopholes is addressed in the bill that is before us today to help us reduce the national debt. Despite these shortcomings, today's legislation does take an important first step toward easing the painful budget cuts contained in sequestration. It has been an unmitigated disaster economy and our country, and there is an urgent need to avert the next round of budget cuts that are scheduled to take effect, and I am grateful for that. In a study conducted earlier this year by the Association of American Universities, 81% of the respondents declared that sequestration cuts had immediate and detrimental effects on research activities. 70% of the respondents cited delays in research projects, and 58% respondents stated that in sequestration that lead to reductions in staff, students, and fellows through attrition and layoffs. And a recent study showed that sequestration and other budget cuts have resulted in a National Institute of Health budget far too low to support our biomedical research community. In addition to that point, Mr. Speaker, let me say that during the government shutdown, which cost the economy $24 billion and was useless, that the 5 Nobel laureates employed by the United States of America, only one was declared essential. 4 Nobel laureates were said to be not essential. That blows the mind, doesn't it? These types of drastic budget cuts have profound impacts on our country. Reduced funding means that new discoveries and breakthroughs are delayed or never realized, and our public health knowledge is stunted for years to come. As a microbiologist, I can tell you that you cannot simply turn research off and on like a faucet. But that's exactly what we do when we arbitrarily slash the budgets with no regard of the consequences of our cuts. And that's why today's legislation is an important step forward in our country. We must end the self-inflicted wound that is sequestration and get back to investing in our own well-being and the future of America. By restoring funding across our government, we will help start our economy and get back to work on the cutting-edge research and on infrastructure that will benefit the nation in years to come. So in closing, today's bill is an important step forward, but our work is not done until we add an extension of unemployment insurance to this legislative package. And we will give you an opportunity to do that at the end of the rule. In so doing, we can ensure a brighter, more prosperous future for every American this holiday season. So I urge my colleagues to vote no on the rule, and I preserve the balance of my